What we're talking about tonight here, I'm going to show you some Telefunken radios from the 80s and 90s, and some that were used actually up till recently. These are all shortwave radios, and kind of got them chronologically. I got the Telefunken E1800 on top. The second one down is E1800. The next to the bottom one is the E1700, and the bottom one is an AEG, which Telefunken became absorbed into AEG, and that was in the early 80s. And so that one is an E1800A, which is a DSP machine. It was the last one of those that they made of this type of machine. So anyway, one of the reasons I'm doing this video is basically not to show off all these radios, but basically to show how the controls differ from machine to machine and how they portray them. Also a little bit, if I have time, we'll tune around a little bit too. There are much different tuning mechanisms on the three that I'm going to show you. This one is the E1506. That one, actually, I can turn it on. Actually, it was being usable, and when I originally started to do this, wanted to do this video a couple of months ago, it was running fine and great, and one night it just sort of went whack and died. So I'm currently working on the power supply on that, and a couple of the cards and units and modules inside it is all accessed from the back. It is basically the same thing as this radio. These two are similar. The parts are interchangeable. So anyway, you don't need to know repair stuff, but that's kind of where the 1500s, these modules work for 1500s, and the 1700 works with the 1800s, which is the precursor of the 1800A. The 1800A is kind of its own weird little beast because it has no it's DSP, so you don't have the mechanical filters and that kind of thing, and it has a lot of niceties. It's much what we can look more, what things we look more like in a modern radio, like direct frequency entry for the things. You've got a lot more modes and bandwidths and all kind of stuff that you get. Maybe in a future video, if you guys want me, I can compare the various top-end DSP receivers that I have in my collection. And that might be interesting. I don't know. Let me know if you do in the comments. Anyway, so let's start out chronologically. We start out with the E1501. There's a 1500, which looks very similar to that. That was the first one. They all came out at the same time. 1506, I believe. Best I can tell, those came out in the 80s. So 1980 through 1987, 88, something like that, when they were made. The 1700 is, it also has a mate, which is a VHF, UHF only radio. Actually, VHF, it only covers from 20 megs to 500 megahertz. So it does not do like extremely high range. But the 1600, that's what that is. And the 1800 series has the E1900/3, excuse me, which is the same type of receiver. It's a UHF, VHF, but it does have a higher range in it. There's no such beast for the 1500 series. Most of these were made for coastal, military, and diplomatic missions. That's kind of where that's what they were made for. Telefunken, well, it's one of the older, during World War II, they were like one of the major radio manufacturer for Germany, and in the immediate after effect too. Between them and Rohde & Schwarz, those were the majority of the German shortwave radio market, certainly since World War II. But anyway, so when we go here, let's look at the 1500. You have different ways that you can influence the meter. It's all kind of in symbols, so some of these are going to be cryptic. They're all cryptic, actually, but some of them are. We have our view meter here. We have our display, which is a dot matrix display. Both of these have all of them in the 1500 series have that same type of display. And we have a tuning indicator, which is really cool, which the 1500 and the 1501 have, but the 1506 does not. It just has the display and the S meter, and it's a lot simpler. It's a lot simpler, has fewer controls on it. But anyway, getting back to this, you can tune up and down with this, fast and slow, or you can do it manually with the VFO. This is a volume knob. This is WTOP in Washington, so that's the volume. That is since it's A1, that's A1 mode, which is CW. This is the BFO. This is another control which controls like attenuator, and I think there are several channels in here you can use. I don't use that very much. I haven't found a use for it. Then you have your wide filter, where you're going to do it that way or that way. I don't know. Depends on the mode. A lot of times I tend to do it on wide since I listen to AM a lot. Then you have an attenuator, I believe is what this one is. And this is the loudspeaker, which allows you to redirect from external to
in the midst of his
the
fourth
NFL
season.
internal.
So Emmanuel Forbes is doing the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air meme. Where he's
Okay, and then we have the modes here. We got several digital modes, fax modes, and then you have like single sideband. You have A2, A3 is basically what we consider just the wide, but it's basically AM radio mode, and then A1 is, as you see down at the bottom right here, that's Morse code or CW. Power switch, headphones or speaker switch, and then you have also dual headphones. These are capable of ISB. These I'm not sure if they have those. If they have it installed or not. I have not been able to find a use. Usually if I tune it to one side or the other, one gets it, the other side doesn't produce any sound, so I'm assuming that. Controls are similar here. Oh, let me tell you about the filters. You have filter selection here. +3 is upper sideband, -3 is lower sideband, of course 3 kilohertz. 1400 is the roofing filter, which is the widest filter setting, and it gives you a lot more signal. 60, that is the one you probably use on shortwave with a lot of that. 1.5, 0.3, and 0.1. So you have a variety of different ones on there. And if you want to know what they sound like, this is on 14 right now. That's 6. 1.5 is more muffled. 0.3, 0.1, you can barely hear it. So anyway, this also has the ability to have dual. In fact, all of these have the ability to have two. It has 2 antenna inputs. This right here. Now, in these, I have actually gone through. One is for basically the AM broadcast band we consider in the United States, which is, I think the bottom is something like 100 hertz or something like that. 100 hertz all the way up to 100 kilohertz, excuse me, and all the way to 1.6 megahertz, which and then the other antenna goes from 1.6 up to 30 megahertz, which is the shortwave bands. The reason they do that is because different antennas have different receiving characteristics, and you can optimize. Say, if you're at a maritime station and you want to get something that's in the AM band, or just listen to AM radio, then you would have a different type of antenna that might be more directional in one way or another. Anyway, that's just how they do this. Since I've actually done it, there's a way you can jump that in the machine itself. So that basically inactivates. It gives you both of them at the same time, which is that. But you have to go in and manually do that. There's a little wire that you have to desolder and then solder bridge it to somewhere else. Controls are pretty much the same here on the and you have the same. Except here they have OSB and USB Uber sideband, lower sideband. They go the same way, but it works the same way. I won't demonstrate that. The 1700 has a lot more capabilities. It has the ability to store, to actually work as a remote receiver, and you can change the address to it. You can have like 30, 35, 40 receivers all linked in together, so you can access them remotely from a central place. This is the only thing I'll be able to do with this is reset the whole machine. So whacked out everything. This, once again, is the antennas, inputs, 1, 2, dual. All right. Here's your same stuff with the VU meter. The display on this is an LED. And then, of course, you have the tuning meter. Right now I'm listening to, here's volume. Let me get, yeah, I've got some, they were really strong a minute ago, some ham radio guys. Then you have, that's the ISB, I believe, channel 1, channel 2. And then you have basically, you have all these different controls, which are the same pretty much. Tuning is different on this. You have, you can go fine tuning, so you go basically down to 10 hertz like that. You go in the middle section, it's by 10, and it's a little faster like that. It's kind of like a medium speed. And if you do that, then it flies like crazy, and you can go anywhere you want to go with that. And that goes pretty quickly, so you can up and down the screen. But that's it. You don't have direct entry, key entry in any of those radios up to this point. This one was made, as best I can tell, between 1985, 1988, 89. And it was, yeah, obviously it has a lot more, some more modern controls on it, like the different speeds of tuning and things. This does too. It's just you have to know, how that is fast, it's slow. So, and then you can use this to do the single. So, anyway, and here's the BFO on this one. See, A1, it's changed positions. So going between these is kind of crazy. Dual antennas, attenuator, and this is right. This is how much you can attenuate the signal. Once again, we have our filter selection. Since I have it on LSB right now, our lower sideband, I have it on -3. +3 would give me upper sideband. 6 would give me an AM. That's the broadest. It doesn't have a 14 kilohertz filter like the 1500 series does. 1.5, 0.5, 0.3, 0.1. So a lot of these you can tell these have a lot of digital mode usage as well. They've got demodulator cards that can go in these too. So anyway, and here are your modes, CW, and then you have set AM, and then you have single sideband and some fax modes and digital mode, couple of digital modes. And then this is volume. There's a speaker. So that's that. Down at the bottom here, and I'm basically just going to show you the controls on this particular video. It looks like maybe I can do another one tuning each one of these if you're interested. Comment once again and ask for that in the comments. Try to be responsive to that. The 1800 is the model between this and this, and they were made between 87 and 92. This one is the E1800A, which is the DSP version. Best I can tell, made between like 1994 and 2000. This one was just taken out of service 2 years ago. So it was, I think, in the French military, French Army, I think, was using this. But I got it out of military surplus, I guess it is. So, and it works really well. I'm real pleased with it. Once again, you have but a lot of the controls are the same for the the plain 1800, 1800/3, and the A version. It's just that the other two they're not DSP. This one is. You have a self-test button. I mean, you can do this one as a remote as well, which seems to be these days a requirement. You have scanning scanning things here. You have direct frequency entry. Yeah, and so if I go to 1500 on this, you'll see. I've got it coming out of external speaker. But if I do the internal speaker here,
Netanyahu earlier today, reportedly for about 2.5 hours, ostensibly about some potential kind.
So you can see you can get quite a bit of sound coming out of these speakers. They're really good. So the numbers here you enter in there. This is a control display. Some of the modes, it'll actually do something for you, like some of the digital modes. It also, this is where any error codes or self-tests, if you do the test and things like that, it'll show up there. Frequency display, which is, once again, LED, very common with the 1700, it's in common. Mode and bandwidth, and then you have special things like your passband control. If I did that, you see it lights up. If I do a notch, it does that as well. So, and then you have digital parts of that. But see, if I hit the digital, it gives me an error code. So I don't have it in the right mode for that, because these down here are multi-function buttons. This is your volume, AF level, pretty much. And then you have here, you can do certain things in certain modes with gains and thresholds and things like that. So you can control that. This is right here, can be mode. They call it demodulator. So you can go between the different modes that way. And you see it goes kind of crazy. A3E here is considered to be AM. And then you have bandwidth, which it has certain bandwidths. It has more, certainly. I'll show you. They're the bandwidths it has, and it really likes those little fine controlled bandwidths. Some of the modes will do 10 is the most, and it's actually it's a really good sound, especially on an external speaker like I've got a JRC NVA 319 on it. Anyway, so you have the main tuning dial, you have memory recalls and channel stores and things like that, so you can scan through channels if you wanted to do it that way. Data out is for if you're doing digital. And you have the tuning fast and slow for the tuning of the channel here, of the frequency. AGC, slow and fast AGC, or off. And that's when you can do your manual gain. That's when that comes alive. Squelch, that's something you have. Also, you have in the teletype, you have two different modes here. So that's pretty much. And then, of course, you can change the RF and AF being measured in the display. The numbers down here. A lot of these the tuning is really nice here, because if you tune it off, see how spot on that can be. You can actually a lot of times have. So you get it solid, so you know exactly whether the station's on or off a little bit, or if it's any wobble. So anyway, so those are the 1980s and 1990s up to current, in some places, of Telefunken radios. There are other ones. I may do a video on a 1200, which is more of a 70s model, which is really kind of weird. But these are the ones you'd probably see in the market if you were looking to buy one. So, and I would encourage you to. They're really good radios. Anyway, so they're fun to work with. And of the DSPs, I think this is currently my favorite for any of the DSP radios that I actually run, including the Watkins Johnsons and the. Watkins Johnson may have more bandwidth and has certain things that are better, but from just a basically broadcast AM radio sound, this one has the best sound I've been able to find in a DSP right now. So anyway, let me know what you think. Comments, criticisms, I'll take those too, because that's always useful. Anyway, and next time we'll see you next time. Thanks a lot.